going to ask Emily Efurd to come up. I'm going to borrow this, thank you. She's going to share a testimony of the life change that God brought and is bringing in her. Thank you, Emily. You want to come up? Right, you can do it right there. Yeah, come on up. I promise I'm not going to hurt you.
You might want to after this. Now, I know you asked me to keep it to 3 minutes.
Yeah.
I kept it under 15.
Oh, that's perfect.
No, I'm kidding. I knew you'd say that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, last week when Kurt was talking and talking about being a Christian and how that works, I kept thinking, he's telling my story. I need to get up there and tell it myself. So this week, I want to put some flesh on what he said last week. I grew up in a church family. We went to church Sunday evenings, Sunday mornings, Wednesday evenings. My dad was in charge of the food pantry at church. He would drive the old folks around. He was still doing it when he was 80, and he still called it, "I'm driving the old folks today." So we were deeply involved in church, and went to church constantly. So I met my husband when I was 18, and we married 9 months later. It was love at first sight. It really was. Doesn't mean it was easy, but it was definitely love at first sight. So he was Baptist, and I was not. And so when we got married, I asked him if we could marry in my church. And he said, sure, that'd be fine. So we married in my church. And we used to have these little discussions about whether I was saved or not. And I would tell him, look, I've gone to church all my life. Saved is a Baptist term. It's not even in the Bible. And so those were words I ate, obviously. So we kept having these little discussions. It never turned into arguments, but just talks. And so he became concerned enough, I found out later, that he talked to his mom about it. And he told his mom, I know she went to church all her life, but I don't think she's really saved. So his mom gave him some advice. She said, quit arguing about being saved and pray for her salvation. But when you do, bolt your feet to the floor, because you could get caught in the backwash. I don't think at that time he understood what she really meant, but it was certainly prophetic. After 13 years of marriage and 2 kids, we had a little house that we were buying and a car, station wagon, everything that you would hope to have after 13 years of marriage. I became really bored and really restless. It was just same thing every day, day after day. So we separated, and I began to dabble in things that were just not really me, even the old me. Things that were exciting and challenging and new and different. And so during that year, that's another story that probably doesn't even really need to be told, but during that year, it was pretty rough. I did some things that I used to be ashamed of, but now I just regret and have remorse. Because shame is from Satan. That's his gift to us. Mm-hmm. And regret and remorse are from God. So I still have regret and remorse, but no shame anymore. My brother in California, in the meantime, he was a Navy pilot, and he had been saved. So I got letters from him during that year. Oh, Emily, I just have so much I want to tell you. And he'd send me tracts and talk about God, and even told me, he said, my whole church is praying for you. Well, that didn't help any, because talk about being ashamed, that was really horrible. So I just kept telling him, okay, someday when you come, we can talk about it. So Easter that year came in March. It was early, it came in March. And I met a friend at work, and she was Baptist also. And so she asked me if I'd go to church with her on Easter Sunday. Neither one of us had been to church in a long time. And I said, sure, I'd love to go to church with you, but we'll have to go to my church since I'm not Baptist. So she said, okay, that'll be fine. I'll go to church with you. So that was the day. That was the beginning. I don't know what they talked about, what the preacher talked about. I've been in that church since we moved here. And I just know that it's interesting the way you put it when you first started talking about the weights. I just know I sat there feeling heavier and heavier and heavier. I can't describe it any other way. I just felt the weight of, at the time I didn't understand it was my sin, but the weight of my life and all the things that had happened and all the things that I'd done, and it just got heavier and heavier. So in that church, we didn't have altar call. Nobody got saved in that church, but we had the last song, and the choir sang the last song, and then we got up and left. Well, during that last song, I just needed to get up. And so I got up and stumbled down the aisle and probably stepped on some people's feet trying to get out. And went down to the front. And Brother Mood, who was a pastor there and knew me well, came up and he said, "Hi, Emily, what's going on, hon?" I said, "Well, I want to be baptized." And he said, "Weren't you baptized as a baby?" And I said, "Yeah, but I want to be baptized again." And he said, "Okay, let me talk to Brother French." So he walked over, and they had a few words, and he came back and he said, "Brother French wants to know why you want to be baptized." And I went, "I think I want to be baptized for the remission of sin." That phrase just came out of my mouth. And he said, "Okay, I think we can do that." So he went over and talked to Brother French, and they came back and said, "Yeah, we can do that. Step on down here to the little bowl." And so I stepped down there, knelt down. They baptized me in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. And I got up and went home. Left with Peggy. We were going to go to her house and have sandwiches. And so we were sitting at the dinner table and just talking about what a beautiful day and all. And she said, "By the way, what the heck was that all about when you got up and stepped on my feet?" I said, I don't know what it was about, to tell you the truth. I really don't know. I just know that I got heavier and heavier. I just felt the weight coming down on me. And I had to get up and do something. And she said, "Well, what did you talk to them about?" And I said, "Well, I told them I wanted to be baptized for the remission of sin." And she said, "Oh, my gosh, Emily, you've been saved." I went, "Oh, great. Bobby would be delighted, wouldn't he, my husband?" And she said, "You've been really saved." And I said, "I don't understand." So she began to explain to me that I'd been saved. So that was just the beginning, truly just the beginning. Because after that, there's so many stories I'd love to tell you. I sat under a woman who was grace wrapped over flesh. She was absolutely the meaning of the word grace. And I sat under her for several years and then met another couple that helped me grow so much. I can't tell you how that was just the beginning. All these years later, my husband, we were married 40, God restored our marriage, and we had a new baby. And we were married 47 years when he went home to be with the Lord. That was 10 years ago this week.
Yeah.
And so I just want you to know that going to church and being a good person, you can't be a good person by yourself, but just going to church all the time and listening to the sermons, that's not it. That's not it. It's a heart thing.
It's a heart thing.
And God's in charge of the heart.
Yes, he
So,
is. Yes, he
thank
is.
you for
Thank you. That is a great segue. Thank you.